jazzy here in the studio and some poetry as well, but we're talking to folks from the Publishing Club, so now I have lots of questions. I want to welcome to the program, I want to welcome Patricia Bailey as well as Howard Schneider. There we go. Slight change of a guest that we had for the last minute, and we're doing some cosplay as a pirate today.
Well, it's not my choice. This I needed some work.
Things happen in this world. So you guys have this event, poetry and jazz event. Now these are the two things that some people pretend to really enjoy, and you guys combined them into one. So tell me, why combine poetry and jazz, and what are you guys going to show people, teach people about the event?
Well, poetry and jazz.
It's your third year doing this?
This is our third annual year of poetry and jazz together, and it was really born out of the community of poets that's here in Laguna Woods. There's a group of us. It's not a big group.
Right.
We're hoping it would be a big group, but it's a group that came from the Spoken Word Club and the Publishing Club. And so we thought, because the month of April, back in 1996, the Academy of American Poets had deemed it the month of poetry.
Okay.
So it's a national celebration. So all over America, people are, having these wonderful poetry events. In addition to that, there's a jazz club that's here at Laguna Woods. And it just so happens that 15 years later, in 2011, the UNESCO determined that international jazz celebration would be held on April 30th. So here we are, we're having our event on April 30th. And we thought, let's combine them. So that's really the event.
Now, on poetry, on the subject of poetry, is it becoming a little bit of a dying art, or is it maybe not as appreciated? I mean, it used to be like in the 60s, mod poets, you'd have poetry reading sessions, but those things seem to kind of have lessened over the generations as people are more, social media and posts and TikToks and those kinds of things. So how does jazz make a comeback from all this, Howard?
Well, jazz doesn't need to make...
Or, I'm sorry, poetry. I'm sorry, poetry.
Right. Jazz has been with us and always will be. It's one of the great forms of music. I think that there's a revival in people being involved in poetry in the sense of expressing their feelings through writing. This style of writing, very compact.
Right.
It allows you to express your emotions with the fewest number of words.
It's made for the TikTok short-term generation, right? Short-term attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's an increase in journaling. And I think sometimes journaling and poetry kind of can get mixed up a bit, and people might start jotting poems. At least I've heard people saying that.
Yeah.
So it's coming back, strong as ever.
And Patricia, on the jazz side, jazz is a spectrum of stuff. So what are we going to expect from this kind of the jazz you guys are going to be presenting?
We actually have Shelley Davis. He is a member here of the Jazz Club, and he's going to be doing piano.
Okay.
He's a keyboardist, and he's been playing music for over 50 years, and he's going to be the backdrop, really, to the poets. We have 9 poets that are going to be featured, and we'll have jazz throughout.
So is it going to be accompanying in the background, like based on the kind of poetry it's going to be read? He's going to play a different kind of jazz?
No, we had decided that it'll be separate.
Okay, because jazz so improvisational. I thought, well, maybe we can do that with the poetry.
Yeah, we also have a surprise guest too that has a little bit of ukulele.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little of that mingled in. So
Right.
Sounds like fun. Other things. What other things besides the poetry readings and that kind of thing? What other things can people look forward to? Are there books? There are other things like that for people to kind of take a look at. CDs.
yeah, our poets are going to be able to be selling their books that they have. So if you want to be able to come and enjoy poetry, you can have some refreshments that we're going to have provided. It's several hours on Thursday, April 30th at Clubhouse 7. And our poets will be selling their books and CDs. So if you're really, interested in wanting to learn more about the styles of poetry, it probably would behoove you to, speak to them one-on-one. And what a great opportunity to get even perhaps a signed copy of a book from some of our poets, because we've got really amazing talent here in Laguna Woods.
And Howard, who are some of the presenters? Do we know? Are they all Laguna Woods residents?
No, not necessarily. We're trying to expand to all of Orange County. There's just so much talent here, not only in music and writing in general, but especially in poetry. And there are very strong poetry associations in Southern California that especially Patricia, who's an award-winning poet herself.
Oh, hey!
And there's a lot of talent here that we can draw on because of our connections, just through the spoken word club and the poetry club, the publishing club, and through Patricia and our other colleagues.
Now, Patricia, when you write your poetry, do you have like a kind of an area you stick to, or do you kind of wide range in terms of like the subjects you cover? Is it what strikes you?
You know, I still consider myself a newbie in poetry, and I'm really drawn to what I've been described as a narrative poet.
Okay.
And I'm really drawn to my past and my upbringing and my nationality and my heritage, being Italian. So I really draw on a lot of that. And then there's
the language of romance.
The language of romance. And there's just really so much to talk about today. There really is. I mean, you're drawn to so many subjects and things that are going on in the world that there's so much to really write about. Poetry's very deep, it's very much what you're feeling. It's your emotions, it's memory, it's there's a whole gamut of interesting things that you can be writing about.
And the inspiration can come from almost anywhere, right? Whatever kind of strikes you in the place. Do you journal when you do your stuff, or do you dictate it into a phone?
I journal. I'm definitely a pen and paper kind of person, and then eventually I'll type it into my computer.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question now.
Yep.
I'm putting you on the spot. You have every right to say no.
Okay.
Can you give us you say you're a narrative poet, can you give us a sample of your poetry? Can you aloud right now?
I'm going to save that for, I'm going to save that.
See, that's a good, man, you are a
save that
salesperson. You are a salesperson, folks. It's going to be April 30th, 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. over at Clubhouse 7.
Yes.
Members are free. Guests are $10. It's check or cash at the door. So that's when you get to hear Patricia's poetry, saving it. Oh, I was trying to get us a freebie, but I couldn't do it.
And don't forget the refreshments.
Yes.
Lots of refreshments. Always lots of refreshments. So what is it that you love about, I'll give you either one, jazz or poetry. What's your favorite? I don't want to split the baby in half, but what's your favorite? What is it that first struck you, Howard, when you had your first jazz song?
I'll take that and then turn it over to Patricia. I grew up with jazz.
Okay.
And I feel it's a very expressive form of free living. I mean, it's a freestyle music, and it's in my bones. I'm a member of the Jazz Lovers Club here, but I also love classical music as well. And I was never introduced to poetry, so it's new to me. But I'm learning to really enjoy it. Patricia is the one who is the poet.
So what was like? Do you remember the first time that poetry really struck you, and you said this, and then you started thinking, well, maybe this is something I could do? Were there decades in between those times?
No, my journey came just by happenstance of a trip that I had going back to my mother's homeland of Italy, and then I was a part of a writing workshop and a retreat, and there I was led by a very famous poet, Maria Mazzotti Gillen. She's out of Paterson, New Jersey. And from there, the pen just wouldn't stop.
Wow.
It just started to flow out of me. And then when I moved here to Laguna Woods, I began to get introduced to various people that lived here, and I really wanted to find poets. And Scott Galasso has been, my tried and true mentor, friend, brother of the pen, and he's very much a part of this poetry and jazz event because he and I and Howard were members of the pub club, and 3 years ago we said, this is something we really should consider. So it's really the three of us with a whole host of other people in the background that are putting it together, and we're hoping to grow it. I mean, ultimately, I think that if we can get more people involved in poetry and spoken word, I could have envisioned this being a much bigger event. It would be great to be,
That'd be
the
awesome.
Performance Arts Center. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
There we
And
go.
to
Hey.
have a poet laureate from
Gotta
Laguna
dream-
Woods,
gotta
right?
dream
Like that
big.
would be
That would be amazing.
That would be great. So,
All right, folks. Well, we're wrapping it up here. It's April 30th. It's going to be 3 to 5 p.m. over at Clubhouse 7. Make sure you get out there. Members are free. Guests are $10 cash or check at the door. Patricia, couldn't get you poetry out of you, but we're going to get some at the event. And Howard, enjoy the jazz.
Thank you.
Thanks
all
for
right.
joining us.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with a movie preview. Stay with us.